So guys, in today's video I wanted to speak a bit more about this whole loot drop situation. Now this has had such a fluctuation in the last few months. It's been hot news, then it's died off again, and then something else has happened and brought it back to the surface. Quite recently there was a meeting in the UK with a representative of the EA side of things who stated and stipulated that their loot boxes weren't loot boxes, they were surprise mechanics. And it was a meeting in the UK between some certain people to try and ascertain exactly what the purpose of these are in computer games. Now they've brought much attention to games and they've been scrutinized quite closely. Now a lot of people claim they're gambling, and I definitely believe that. I feel they're quite predatory on children as well. If they're not explained properly, these could have repercussions and severe repercussions for these children when they become of a age where they can walk into a casino or can walk into a bookies. It's quite easy to get addicted. Now one of my subs brought this article to my attention today. Nintendo, Microsoft and Sony commit to disclose drop rates for loot boxes. So I'm going to read the article and then I'm going to give you a bit of my opinion behind the article. The three major video game console manufacturers, Microsoft, Sony and Nintendo, have committed to requiring all publishers of games on their respective platforms to disclose the odds of receiving types of in-game items from loot boxes in all future titles. Now this includes a whole plethora of publishers: Activision, Blizzard, Bandai, Bungie, EA, Ubisoft, Warner Brothers. Just a whole load of people are involved, as you can see on there, but they will need to be included for a game to be published on the Xbox, PlayStation and Nintendo Switch consoles. Other platforms like PC are unfortunately, which is not written here, but I think it's unfortunate, not included in this commitment. The video game industry relies on creating and sustaining relationships with our players based on fun, but just as importantly on trust. Now that is a very big point there. The ESA said in an announcement blog post on Wednesday, one of the hallmarks of our industry is that we don't just create entertainment value for players, we listen to them. Well, that's debatable sometimes. The exact timing of the disclosure requirements is still being worked out according to the ESA, but the companies hope to roll it out for 2020. So there's that delay, there's the reasoning behind that delay, but I think they should have come forward to this meeting with a clear plan and a clear time scale as to when they wanted to execute it. Continuing with the article, video games spark camaraderie and build communities that we all enjoy being a part of, said the ESA. We will continue to innovate and work together so that every member of our community can enjoy video games as a fun and enriching experience. Nintendo not immediately responding to requests for comment. We believe in transparency with the customers and providing them with information for making their purchase decisions, a Microsoft spokesperson told The Verge. This is why by 2020, all new apps or games offering loot boxes or other mechanisms on Microsoft's platforms provide randomized virtual items for purchase must disclose to customers prior to purchase the odds of receiving each item. A Sony spokesperson verified the commitment, telling The Verge, "We support industry efforts to disclose the probability of obtaining randomized virtual items known as loot boxes and are committed to providing consumers with this information for all gamers we produce and publish." Nintendo too said that it would be increasing transparency in loot box purchasing at Nintendo, ensuring that our customers can make informed choices when they play our games is very important. And Nintendo pretty much go on to say the same thing, that they've got a commitment that will require drop rates for Nintendo Switch games that offer randomized virtual items for purchase, such as loot boxes. Finally, in the article it goes, over the past year, lawmakers and regulators have raised concern over loot boxes, and so have communities, and so have channels like mine, Drifters, Thunders. There's just loads of people that have brought this to the forefront because the communities, the customers, the consumers are actually aggravated that these people seem to be trying to make a quick change, even off children now. There's no ethics, there's no honor behind what they're doing, and that's why it's been brought to these people's attention, especially if they target children. It says right there in the article, Maggie Hassan wrote to the FTC last fall asking for the agency to investigate the practice and whether new consumer protection regulations need to be crafted in order to protect children and their parents in brackets who play these games. Introducing these Protecting Children from Abuse Act in May that would ban the sales of loot boxes to minors under the age of 18 and making it unlawful for minor orientated games to include pay-to-win let's just say that again, to include pay-to-win microtransactions and mechanics. So a very, very interesting article. So this article was brought to my attention by one of my subscribers, Despo7, and I think it's a very interesting article, but also a very important one, because it's the start of something that should have happened a long time ago. Now, is it enough? I don't think so. Not in the slightest. Is it taking too long for them to start getting this going? Yes. Do I think they should have been a lot more robust in their demands? Yes. Sony, you have the power. Microsoft, you have the power. And Nintendo, you have the power to make these publishers dance to your tune, because you are the very platform that gives them the platform they need to be able to talk to us consumers and allow us consumers to consume their product. So I believe it's your responsibility more than anyone's to make sure people are conducting business on your platform correctly. And I think this is where you have the opportunity to be the knights in shining armor and tell these people you cannot do this to our players, our player bases, because the first company that takes that stance, I guarantee you, will be the one who makes the most profit. Why? Because people will just flock over to you because you're ethical. Everybody likes an ethical business. Everybody likes an ethical business. Well, obviously you've got people who are unethical selling things for cut prices and so forth, but that's a whole nother topic. But the fact of the matter is, it's a start. It's not enough, but there are people like Maggie who have wrote to the FTC and started asking these questions for us, the consumers, because we've made plenty of noise on YouTube. Parents have made plenty of noise about their children being taken for a ride by these companies, and there are things starting to come out now to protect children. The introduction of the Protection Children from Abusive Games Act is just a start. That came out in May, but these are only in certain places, only in certain states. But I'm hoping other people will start following suit, and this will topple loot boxes forever. So for me, it's a very good start, but it's just not enough. But that's a question that I need to ask you guys now. What do you think about this article? Do you think it's a good start? How would you like to see things implemented? And do you think Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo are actually doing enough? It's a shame that we've not heard much about the PC, but I do understand why they've gone for consoles first. Consoles are definitely where you'll find most children. Parents are more likely to buy consoles because they're very simple. Most children's friends will be playing on a console. PCs are a minefield. There's so much paraphernalia that comes with buying a PC, from the hard drive to the amount of RAM you've got, to what processor you're going to use, what operating system. So it's just so much easier to choose a Nintendo Switch, a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One. It's just an easier consumer decision. So I understand why they've gone to consoles, but I also believe that this should stem over to PC. So let me know down in the comment section whether you believe this is a start in the right direction for us as gamers. Do you believe they've been robust enough and done enough in terms of the people fighting for this and people like Sony, Microsoft and Nintendo? And do you think the timescale is too long like I do? I genuinely believe that wait until the end of 2020, all that will happen is these publishers will do their absolute best to milk as much as they can out of this before it is a absolute compulsory thing that they have to do. So let me know down in the comment section, guys, your thoughts. But I thought it's a very interesting article that I thought I'd bring to your attention, that was brought to my attention by one of my subscribers. Guys, there are many buttons you can hit, but a like and subscribe button, I hope they tickle your fancy. And as always, guys, don't forget to stay on the right track. Peace.